What is up, guys? ShipMac here. I am actually, today we're going to be doing something a little bit different than we normally do, or I normally do. I am going to be doing a ground run functional check flight inspection for the BK-117D2. The reason I'm going to do this is we are going to see if the aircraft behaves as it should, what all things, obviously some of the stuff we're not going to be able to do, but for the things that we can do, we're going to see, does the simulation actually stack up to the aircraft properly. So, of course, in real life, we would go through all this stuff and make sure we do everything to ensure that the helicopter is safe and legal to fly before we start doing this. So, we're in a simulation, so I'm going to assume that all of that is good. I'm going to jump right on down here to this right here. Alright, so prepare flight, exterior, interior checks according to the FLM section 4, and then do a pre-start check according to FLM section 4. So right here we're at the pre-start check. Alright, so here's our note right here. It takes about 30 seconds for the engine electronic control units to hand off data with the engine data units on shutdown, master battery off, and so that's where that 30-second requirement comes from. Switch off the battery and turn it back on. Alright, so instrument mode, I'm going to come over to the aircraft in the simulation right here. I'm going to hold control number pad 3. Alright, we are in day mode right there. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do over here is bat mask switch on and engage, allow approximately 20 seconds system to boot. So what I like to do is I hover over this and I roll forward with my mouse twice to engage. Control 1 comes back to here. Alright, so next thing we're looking for, FND master list, acknowledge master list either on the cyclic or the MFD. So I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge it right here on the MFD. There we go. Alright. Alright, check power up test OK. Power up test OK is displayed. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to go fire test switch 1 to EXT. So control 3 right here, fire test 1. I'm going to hover it, I'm going to roll forward and come down. Alright, what we're looking for is fire bot 1, bot 2 used, plus the tone. We got the tone, we got bot 1, bot 2 used. Going to go control 3 to come back up here, hover over test 1, and roll forward. Alright, that's going to bring us to EXT. Alright, EXT warning. So we heard the bell and the tone. We got engine 1 fire, bot 1, bot 2 test. Up here we have bot 1, bot 2 EXT and fire shown. So that is a good check on that. And then it says to fire test switch 1 off. So we're going to come back up here and we're going to roll up on the mouse. And all of this should turn off, and it does, and our master list goes back to normal. So that's good test on 1. Fire protection system 2, we're going to repeat that test. So control 3, roll once, come back down. We got the tone, fire bot 1, bot 2 used. Going to come back up here all the way forward. We got the bell. We got Betty. We got fire engine 2 here. Fire bot 1, bot 2 test here. Bot 1, bot 2 EXT, and fire up here on the warning unit. That's a good check on system 2. Hover over it, roll up twice. Alright. Same indications. Alright, so, and we did get fire engine 2 and engine 2 fire. Alright, test switch to lamp hold. Alright, so I'm going to hover over the lamp. I'm going to roll forward. I heard audio test. Alright, so right here, what we're looking for is all of these indications right up here. So low fuel 1 and 2, engine fail 1 and 2. There's good checks on that. Rotor RPM. And then down here we have battery overheat, main, gearbox, oil pressure, AP, and cargo smoke. Alright, so that's a good check as far as that goes. Down here, we should have the training should illuminate the word train right there. So that is one thing that does not quite work the way it's supposed to. Alright, so continuing on, we're going to come down here to the autopilot control panel. We have 4 across the top. We have these 3, these 2, and that illuminates right there. So, and then we're going to make sure that alright, we got 1 there, 1 there, and we should have 1 there. Alright, so let's turn those back off. And let's check those again. And that's out, and that is out. So that is a good check on that one. Alright, so test switch is released. VMS page press number. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and control 1 to jump in here. VMS page to numbers. Alright. Center MFD, check voltage greater than 23.5 volts and check fuel quantity. Alright, so 24.3 greater than 23.5, fuel quantity is good. Weight computation, we don't care about that. We're going to go ahead and validate it and then press previous. Alright, if OAT cabin temperature is greater than 35 degrees C and IFR is planned, neither of those are the current condition. Status, that's what I'm looking for. And OAT should be, we can use T1 as a quasi OAT. Where is my OAT at? I am losing my mind right there. There we go. OAT is 30 degrees C. So we are less than 35 degrees C. We do not need to check that instrument panel fan. There's no way to actually physically turn that on manually. That is a switch, an internal switch. Alright, so avionics flight control check. FND master list. Engine 1, engine 2 fail. EPU is not connected. We have aft forward fuel pump pitot 1 and 2 heater off. Power up test OK. And rotor brake is extinguished. Now we do have hydraulic low pressure 1 and 2. Those that should not be illuminated. So there is ding number 2. We should not have HYD 1, HYD 2 low pressure because that is suppressed on the ground. The aircraft knows that the rotor is not turning, and so it suppresses that, just like it suppresses our engine oil pressure and our main gearbox oil pressure. All that is suppressed, even though it is shown up here. The master list suppresses it because it knows that it shouldn't be there. Alright, so coming on down. Now, engine will not start if the rotor brake is engaged. So I tell you what, let's try. Let's test that one real quick. Let's hit it. Nope, fail. Alright, so there is ding number, I don't know, who's keeping count. Alright, so coming on down. Alright, boy, I jumped too quick there. Alright, flight instruments, line set barrel if required. I'm going to wait to do that until later, once we get the aircraft all started up. Alright, flight controls, press trim release switch, check free moment throughout travel, including non-interference with optional equipment. So what we would do at this point is we would go force trim release, and you can see right there, you'll see my force trim release button, and we would go around the world. And as we are doing that, really we should be looking up and out to make sure that we get correlation in the blades, and I guess this is the only one we're going to see today. So right and left, we really shouldn't see much of a change at all. I'm sorry, fore and aft, we shouldn't see much of a change at all. So that's kind of weird. It's like forward left and back right is not causing the change, but whatever. Alright, low NR audio tone will sound when raising the collective lever. Alright, so flight controls, center stick using position indicator, which is right there. So if I was not centered, it would be out there, but it is centered, so we are good to go on that. Alright. Release trim release switch, latch collective lever. Oh, and you know what? Actually, it doesn't explicitly tell me to pull my collective up. I'm going to make sure full down I'm at 0. I'm going to come up. And right about there, yep, just past the desync line, I should get my boop, 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 and let me know that my rotor is low. We'll pull it all the way up to 10, make sure we have full travel, and then I'll also look up there, good correlation on the mains, And then let's check our tail rotor pedals, full left, full right, and there we go. Oh, and I like that. We even have slight right pedal is actually centered, so that's pretty cool that that's in there. All right, so all that is good. Exterior lights ACOL set as required. As a general rule of thumb, when the battery's on, we should have our ACOL light on. IR flash set as required. We do not need that right now. All right, so we're going to jump to the next page. And we are ready for starting engines. Alright, so engines are off. Check collective lever position on status page when collective increases. So, right there, collective lever position on our status page. The way we get our status page is on the VMS page, status, collective lever position is right there. We have a redundant system 1 and 2. Both of these should match the FLI tape, which is actually just a collective lever position now. So here we go. We're going to pull it all the way up, 3 all the way to 100. We're going to come back down to 50%, and there's 50%, and back down to 0. So that's a good check there. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Engines are off. Alright, so, alright, AFCS cutoff check. Engines are off. Alright, so, AFCS pilot and co-pilot right there. We have the proper indications on both sides, so that's a good check there. Engage and push AP backup cut. Alright, so I have that mapped, so I'm going to engage it. And push AP backup cut push button, and it goes back off. That's a good check there. Alright, autopilot control panel location check, amber indication. And why am I not using my shortcuts? Control 2, AP1, AP2. There we go. And that's good there. We don't have one on the co-pilot side. Alright, AFCS, second push the backup cut. And let me build it back up so we can see what's going on here. Alright, and there it goes right there. Second push turns that one off. So that's good. Now, what I should be able to do is if I build this up, I should get AP1 and 2, but I should get... These should turn on, but I will get a... I'll get some fussing right there that tells me it doesn't like that I'm turning those on. Because it can't move the controls. When you turn those on, it'll kind of move the controls and do a little bit of a test, and it can't because there's no hydraulic power. And so those SASs have a hard time doing that. But when I cut it, I do get that backup light, so we're going to call that good. Alright. AFCS, re-engage AP2 with backup on four-way switch right. Now, I am going to do this right. I can't. It's not going to let me. So that we're going to start calling those some. That's a no good because it won't do it, which means that doesn't work there. We're going to get none of those. Those are actually going to be no goods there. All right. So coming on down, audio check audio. We're not going to get the audio. Autopilot control panel. Check indication goes off. AP2 backup, and we can't do that. It's not gonna. Well, there's only one autopilot control panel, so that's no good on that. Re-engage AP1 with backup. Switch left, which it's not going to let me do. So that's not going to work either, which is going to cause that to fail on our MFDs, and that to fail as well. Repeat this test with the co-pilot side, which is also going to fail. Switch them to off, and they are off. So you know what? We'll give that one a check. All right, start engines according to FLM. All right, engine started first. All right, so we're going to start on a battery, and we're going to start the number one engine first. All right, we're going to look for our max TOT, max engine oil pressure, max transmission oil pressure, starter cutout speed, starter time 0% to 60%, and a stabilized idle. So these are stabilized, so we're going to be looking for these right here, max TOT, max TOT and pressures. We're also going to look at starter cutout speed and the time to start 0 to 60%. All right, so over here we're going to come back to this, and now we need to jump back to the FLM. All right, so all right, primes 1 and 2 on. So there's primes 1 and 2 on. All right, FND ML acknowledge. No electrical over limit, so we do not have the electrical over limit. All right, we're going to go engine 1 to idle, and we're going to start our clock. So I'm going to do that first. 1 to idle. There we go. All right, we're going to look for our max engine oil pressure. Let me jump back to this real quick. It's 58, 63. That was good, 61% on the starter cutout there. Looks like 68, 69, 70, 71, 685, 690, 72, 695, 700. And I tell you what I messed up was this right here, the chronometer. So let's shut that down and let's retry that. So we're looking for starter cutout speed and the time. That'll be my first two that I'm looking at. And then I'm looking at my max pressures. All right, so all right, so here we go. And start timer. Looking for that starter cutout. All right, 27 seconds. And it cut out at about there, right where it was supposed to. We're up to about 70, 71, 72, 695, 772, 773. So I'd say about 773, and the oil pressure is still coming up. So let's come back to this. This is about 700. This is about 73. Max pressure we got to was about 2 bar. Starter cutout speed was 61%, so that's good. Starter time, we said 27 seconds. Stabilized idle, N1, looking at about 80.5. And N2 stabilized idle is 78. Alright. So jumping back over here. Just bear with me a second here. I'm getting a... Alright. So now it's ready for our second engine start. Does it say specifically to start the engines according to section 4? And the reason I asked that is because we got some checks. I'm assuming it wants the checks all done later. So we're going to continue on. We're going to go with engine 2 now. Alright, so actually I'm going to double check our we will go ahead and do our hydraulic check. Starting first engine. Is our hydraulic check, so we're going to go ahead and do that because really we should be. Alright, so coming up here we're going to go sys 1 and hold, so sys 1 and hold. Alright, low pressure hide 2, so that's good check there. Down on 2, up on 1, hide 2, pressure values in amber, that's a good check there. We would, you know, do a little bit of this, a little bit of this, all that, make sure that we have that. Check normal forces, all that is good. Going to jump back up here. We're going to bring it back. We're going to go to sys 2 and hold. This time we should get hide 1 low pressure, hide tail rotor shut off, down on 1, up on 2, and hide 1 values are in amber. Alright, and then I would do all those same things that I did before again, and now I'm ready to start the second engine. So we're going to jump back over to this. Alright, engine 2 is ready to go. We're going to reset our timer and start 2. We're going to add about 3 seconds to it since we're going to add about 10 seconds to that. Alright, look at that starter drop out. There was right about 60. And 17, 18 seconds. I'm going to say 25 seconds on that start. And now we're looking for, that's about 475. That's what it looked like on that start. 480. So 480. You know, I didn't notice was the max bar, but we're going to say 76% on that, or 76 bar, I'm sorry. And max oil pressure is still at 2. Starter cutout speed was right about 60. This is about 25 seconds. Stabilized speed at idle is 72.2. And we are still at 78%. Alright, so let's check some of this stuff. I was looking at temperature, so we're going to call that good. You know what? Don't judge me. That one's good. Starter cutout speed was good. Max less than 60 seconds, so that was good. That's good, and we are right about 78. Startup test OK is shown, so that is good. Alright, stabilized ground idle. We're going to go to our VMS indications. Alright, NR is 78. N2 77.1. We'll say 77.1 and 77.1. Our N1 72.2 and 72.2. Torque 1 is 0. That is not right. We should have a little bit of torque, but 480, 480, and then we would do the same thing for all this. Alright, so engine 1 and engine 2 NR2 match. Both of these should be about 78%, and they are pretty close. Let's come back to this so we can see an actual. Yeah, we're pretty close on that. Those two should be lock solid the same. If they are not, then we got a problem with their sprag clutches. So, seeing these to stay consistently less, these are mechanically linked, so those should be the exact same. But no matter, we'll go ahead and call that mostly good. Actually, I'm gonna give that one a meh, because it should really be lockstep. No engine, nothing crazy was going on. Idle did come on. Indications are within normal operating range. Alright. Engines both idle. Yes. Collective lever is fully down. Yes. Alright. Engine 1. Pull circuit breaker for FADEC 1 or 2 on essential BES 1. So that's control 4. There we go. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. We're going to come down here to essential bus 1, and we cannot pull circuit breakers. So we're just going to skip through all of this because we can't test any of that. Alright, perform balancing. We're not going to do any rotor balancing. Stabilize flight parameters. So as part of the balancing, we would come to flight. So let's just go ahead and do that. It didn't ask me. To do any type of autopilot check, so that is interesting. Whatever. Alright, so I guess we'll just go ahead and jump to idle, or to flight on both engines. Alright, engines are both in flight. Heating. Turn the bleed air heating knob to max. So that's going to be this guy right here. We're going to just crank that thing on up to max. We're going to check. Alright. So that is to max. Defog lever. Oh, I don't know that we're going to be able to do that, but we'll give it a shot. A defog lever. Oh, how about it? Switch on the system in the center console, the ECS system. ECS not installed. We got the old school system. Alright, check for white. Alright, so we got our white circle in the FLI there. 2 and 3. TOT increases. So let's see, 585. Uh-oh. Let's check that. Let's come off with it. TOT does. Oh, no, TOT does not increase. So that's a no-go on that. E-heater system not installed. Alright, so both engines to idle. VMS goes to idle. Alright, shut down first engine according to the FLM. We didn't do anything, so we're just going to shut her down. And we did not, well, we got engine fail up there, but we did not get engine fail down here. Check N1 warning unit indication comes on. So we got the warning unit, but what we didn't get was engine fail down here. And FLI heating should go off. It did not. Second engine to flight. Heating symbol comes on. I guess we'll We'll call that a check. Heating system to off. Alright, restart first engine. Repeat steps for second engine. Alright, looks like we are stabilized. So we'll go ahead and come right up here. We're going to go bleed air to max. 1, 2, and 3. And then we are going to... No. We're going to kill it. So... Actually, engine fail doesn't come on until all the way down there. We should not be getting a hydraulic. So there's another issue right there. We should not be getting Hyde 1 low pressures on any of these. And that hydraulic system should not come down. So that's weird. That should not be doing that. I didn't notice if it did it on the other one. But both of our hydraulic systems should be fully online right now. Alright, so we're going to say right here, that was a no-go there, and I'm betting that was the same. I didn't see the percentage, but as far off as that was. Alright, so this does not go off. We're going to go the other engine to flight. And we're going to call this yes, because it never did go off. And then we'll come up here. We will turn this off. And it does go off. Alright, restart the first engine. Repeat steps for the second engine. We'll go ahead and say both in flight. Alright, engine quick start. And why does it tell me to start both engines back up? I know, 30 seconds, but whatever. Alright, so I'm going to set this up to where engine 1 starts first. Now I tell you, it's going to fail this. It is absolutely going to fail this check right here. And let's go ahead and pull this baby up. Alright, we're going to call that good enough. So act. Now we're going to go engine 1 to flight, engine 2 to flight. Now, that was immediate. We're saying immediate. Which was not right. This should not be, it should not have started its start sequence. But starter cutouts appear to be at the right time. And starter caution did not appear. Alright, both in flight. Pole collective leverage achieved 2 at 30%. Alright, so both engines are in flight. Wait for everything to stabilize. I'm going to come on up. Ooh, that's interesting. We actually go down in torque quite a bit. Then she starts coming up. So we're looking for 30% torque. Ooh. There we go. There's 30% torque. And both are in flight. Let's go and move that there. Alright, FLI scale and VMS page. No engine related cautions or warnings. We got all kinds of stuff going on here. We still... Oh. Well, that is probably why I never came off of S1. I don't remember doing that, but that is my mistake. Which would explain why that was down. So disregard previous comment. Alright, no engine related cautions or warnings. Standby battery is off, so that's good. Forward fuel pump, fuel primes, pitos, those are all good. And I tell you, just to get rid of those, let's go ahead and bring everything online like it is supposed to. Lavix to pilot, pitos, primes off, transfers on, and arm those. Alright. Keep an engine parameter stabilized, switching to ultimate backup mode. Switch both engines to ultimate backup mode. First engine, open guard, select FADEC emergency on. Alright, so open the guard, FADEC emergency on. Alright, check for caution. Caution comes on. Engine 1, FADEC degraded. We only got one of those. So that is a no-go there. But that and that are both good. So we should have gotten degraded. Alright. If FADEC degraded or engine is not displayed, switch engine off. Oh, that means that it's bad. Okay. Check N1 and N2 for responses, normal behavior. So N1 and N2 should no longer be matching. And they are, which is kind of weird. Or actually, well... seem to be a little bit too lockstep, but we'll say kind of compare the TOT of both engines. Now we should be TOT matching, and we appear to be. Yep, we are no longer torque matching. Because torques are all over the place, but TOTs are matching, so we'll call that okay. Alright, FADEC emergency off, close guard. Well, I mean, I guess, yeah, that technically. Because it was never on. Alright, set this back to 30. Good check there. Engine torques are matched. Alright, repeat for the second engine. So we're going to open that up. FADEC emergency 2. Stuff goes crazy. What the heck is going on here? Alright. I like it. So we're matching TOTs. N1s are kind of all over the place. Torques are all over the place. But we are maybe sort of... No, not really. Yeah, we're matching TOTs. Okay. So we're going to pull up. See N1s and torques kind of dancing around. TOTs look to be doing pretty good. I'm going to call that a good check on that one. Off, close guard. That is all good there. That's good. Alright, collective full down and latched. Alright, Operational test of the DC power system. Engines. You know what? We don't have that task out. We're not going to do it. They are both in flight. We'll do that as a separate video. So VMS. Voltage indication. Alright, so here we go. Let's go put this in. Alright, Gen 1, 28.5. Battery is 24.3, so that's not right. That should be 28.5. Because when the generators come online, it's going to bring that. Whoa, that would be bad. Alright, VMS current indication is 10. Here we have negative 25 and 10. Normal range, no bat discharge. So that's good there. We're going to give it a check there. Alright, both are in flight. Adjust 2 to 30%. There we go, 1 and 2 to 30%. That's a good check there. Engine idle. Torque of operating engine between 58 and 62%. Little low on that. And OEI indications did come on. So our OEI indications are these three right here, as well as OEI right there. Alright, and now we're going to come back to flight with this guy. OEI indications go away. And this second engine. This is saying a little low on the torque, but we have all our OEI indications. Now, this, what I will say is this N2 is wrong right there. Well, this should be the same as this. There's just no torque, but that N2 will absolutely be still up there until you shut down the engine. I don't know. That's logic anyway. I would be interested to see what happens in real life. Alright, so let's come back to this. Mass Communication Center and Mass. Alright. AP backup SAS, check off. Come back over here. AP backup SAS is off. It's off there and off there. Collective lever full down. Check, check. NR between 100.5 and 101.5. We're a little high there. Let's go back here and check that. 101.5, you know what? We'll call it a good check. Alright, select status page for numeric. And what we're looking for here is the mast moment. Measure cyclist point where the cyclist state. Yeah, whatever. Wind from ahead is less than 10 knots. Yeah, whatever. We're not going to do that because we can't. We're going to pretend like the VMS's or the mast moment system's all doing good. We can't check any of these. Alright, engine 1 in flight, adjusted to 70% torque, engine 2 at ground idle. So we're going to do an engine power check at this point. So 2 to idle. We're going to go ahead and bring 1 to 70%, and I'm going to be ready for this thing to get light, because it might. We should not be getting a rotor RPM. Plain and simple, our rotor goes to nothing. That is not right. So we can't even get to that. Not only that, but torque is no longer responding. So it goes to 64.5%, and then torque stops climbing, which is obviously not right at all, and my rotor RPM comes down. It's a huge problem there. I'm just going to put X's all over that, because that was just not a good check at all. Alright, so we're going to skip all the power checks. We're going to bring them both to flight. Collective lever fully down and locked. Training mode. Let's hit it. Alright, training is aborted. Why are my bypasses still open? Boy, we got all kinds of crazy stuff going on here. So that's a fail on that. Fail on that. Fail on that. Fail on that. That's going to be a fail there. Fail there. Fail there. We'll do our rotor brake check when we come back. Start inhibit function with pulled rotor brake. Oh, well, we already know that failed. But that, however, is a yes. Alright, so flight control with AFCS. I'm going to bring the AFCS online. Alright, and we're going to go flight control behavior at a hover with AFCS on. So coming on up, ooh, a little bit more than I meant to there. Alright, so looks good there. We're going to pitch up. We're going to roll right. We'll roll left, forwards, and backwards. I'm going to check the follow-up trim, and it does work. And appears to be working. Alright. So now we're going to go SAS 1 cut. Alright, so now we're going to check. We're going to make sure I should not have follow-up trim. So that is a fail there. I should not have follow-up trim with my trim motors disengaged. Alright, so let's check this. But I should still have trim, and I do. And now we're going to go Super Cowboy. Oh boy, and she gets squirrely. And I still appear to have follow-up trim Yep, I still have follow-up trim even with all that off. So let's go ahead and build it back up. And yeah, that was supposed to be at a hover. We'll give that a check mark with AFCS. And without AFCS was an epic fail. Look at this hero right over. What the is going on there? Alright, let me go hover mode here. That is really happening right now. That's funny. Alright, so get off the pet. What the? Why are my pedals going crazy right now? Absolutely crazy. So I'm going to drive these pedals using the trim switch. I don't know. Well, I was going to use GTCH, but it's actually requiring some left pedal. Alright, pedal forces in hover in ground effect. We're not going to do that. Backup SAS check on, so we'll come back in on this. Alright, both collectives are installed. Check harmonic force during up and down movement with and without force trim release. And we're going to skip all that because that's all. Alright, so let's go to GTCH mode. We're going to go ahead and beep this thing up to 30 knots. And I need to get down to in-ground effect. That's pretty well within in-ground effect there. Need a little bit more speed. Yep, that feels good. So now we'll do rearward flight. That's normal behavior there. That feels good, seems normal. Now, strangely, let me get back in ground effect here. Sliding left requires a lot less pedal than sliding right. I'd have to think about that before they give that a check mark. Alright, freewheeling check. Alright, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and take off and perform a freewheeling check. And we are going to get on to 107.5. Really? I'm climbing at 1,800 feet a minute. I don't think there's an obstacle. Alright, so there we are at VY. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the guts out of this thing to get some altitude. Let's go ahead and grab some indicated airspeed. I'm going to set that at 70 knots. Right there. Alright, we're going to go ahead and dump it. Whoa, what the... That should require a lot of left pedal. There it goes. Now that rotor should be climbing like crazy. Alright, and we do not have a split between NR and N2. So there's your actual test flight, your legit test flight. Yeehaw. So definitely identified some discrepancies, and naturally not able to do all of the checks, but the ones that we did do, we were able to identify some large discrepancies between how the aircraft behaves or should behave in real life and how it behaves in the simulator. Most of it nitpicky stuff, but if we really want to see this thing polished all the way, then that's going to be the stuff that we push to improve. Now I'm going to over torque the aircraft right now. I'm going to do it intentionally, on purpose, all that good stuff. And I want to make sure, yep, it does not. Now right there should start a timer, and I think, I'm not entirely sure, but the main thing I wanted to make sure of was that it was not going to droop the rotor system. Now right now I should be auto rotating because I'm pretty well below that rotor desync line. We're going to go hang out with this guy. Alright, and the last thing we got to do is we're going to come up here and we are going to do that rotor brake check. Alright, so NR equals 50%. We're going to make sure that the indicator comes on. Oh my goodness. Alright, there we go. Alright, so for that, we're going to come back to this page so we can see a little bit better. And for reference, there is our 50% arc right there. Whoops. You know what, we'll let it go. Alright, so we're going to start it, and we're going to start the stopwatch when we apply the rotor brake. So, engine 1 down, looking for at 50%, and actually the box came on at 60%, which is not right. So there's 50%. Started the clock, and rotor brake indication did come on. I'll give it a check mark. Yeah, that was kind of close, but this was definitely a fail. All right, now we're going to release the rotor brake and make sure that caution goes away, and it does. So that's a good check there. And I'll show you what I was talking about earlier. Is right now we have. Let's go ahead and turn the rotor brake on. The rotor brake is on, and then if I try to start the engine, it will start, and that should not. So that's why that failed there. I had done that earlier just to see. But yeah, that is it for all of that. Yeah, I know I should have turned all that off.